Everybody, welcome to the Red Devil Experience. My name is Eric. Hope everybody is doing well. We got the latest Manchester United news. We're going to be talking about, can Amorim actually get United to finish in the top four? Can he get us back into UCL? Should we start to actually believe? Should we go down this path? I've seen some people in the fan base sort of being cautious. I've seen some fans in the fan base going completely off the deep end, talking about we're winning the league now. It's here, it's there. We're going to get into all that stuff. United as well. Apparently sort of backing out of the Baleba deal a little bit, prioritizing a couple other players ahead of Baleba. We're going to talk about if that is the correct thing that they should be doing. Please make sure you smash the like button for the channel. Help it grow. Get it pushed out there. It is important. Also, debut of the new background. Let me know what you guys think. And if you're enjoying it and you're vibing with it, then make sure you smash the like button for the background as well. If you're new and you enjoy the content, we welcome you to our family and our community. Subscribe. When you hit subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell icon. We are on our way to 3,500. We're at 3,220 subscribers. And we're here. We're here. So shout out Lyle. Lyle's liking the background. He says this is a dope background. He says the lighting is good. Everything is symmetrical. I listen. It only took about 6 months, but we're here. We've arrived. I got a little bit of additions that I'm gonna add to it. Yeah, a couple other things. I got this. I'm not gonna expose it. I'm just gonna. I'll fix it up as we go. But I like it. I think it looks good. I managed to make it all right so far. I wasn't really going to debut it today, but I said, you know what? For the 3 wins, for the positivity, I'm feeling good. I think everybody's feeling good at United for the first time in, quite a little bit. So, but let's just get into the show. So, real quick, there's a couple topics we need to hit, and we're going to get into our general discussion after, yeah? But there was some things we didn't get into in the Red Devil recap, the match reaction, after we beat Brighton and got our 3rd win. And I think there's a couple things that I wanted to hit points on. So, real quick, United starting front 3 versus Brighton. Quick recap. Mbeumo got 2 goals. Cunha got a goal. And Sesko got an assist. This is what we want. This is what we need. The front 3, we spent all this money on it. We really put an emphasis on it. And we're starting to see some money back in it. Yeah, some worth back into it. Sesko, still a little bit of rough around the edges, but I'm backing him, and I have 100% faith in him that he will come good. I just think he needs a little bit more time compared to Mbeumo and Cunha. I am really loving, I don't know about you guys, but I am really loving just the vibe that is coming from Mbeumo, coming from Cunha. They feel not just like United players, but they feel like United fans. They play, and so far they've been playing in a manner of, it's just like if me and you were on the pitch. They're playing in the way that we've been asking for players to play at this football club for about like 9 years now, yeah? Where they seem to get it. They seem to understand the club. They seem to understand what it means as an opportunity to play for this football club, to week in, week out, to wear that kit. They're playing in that manner. The vibes that they're giving me, it's just really positive. I feel really excited again about the club, about the team. I feel really good. These guys are making it just feel amazing right now, and they're performing, They're getting goals, they're getting assists, they're having huge impacts on the pitch. So, they've brung a lot of positivity back in a very short amount of time. I mean, we're only, 7 matches or 8 matches into this season. So, I'm loving it. I'm loving the vibes that they're giving off. Ruben Amorim had a little bit of quotes yesterday, and we didn't really touch into that, but one of the big quotes that he said, which I loved, because I think, again, I always talk about how he understands what this club is. I think Ruben is a fan of this club. I think that's one of the reasons why he actually took this job, not only because it's a big project and he believes in himself, But I actually think Ruben actually loves this football club. I think for me, it was quite evident from the very beginning. And I think he actually, he believes in this football club, and he is also sort of a fan of this football club, in a way. And, the thing that one of the big comment that he said to me, which was, I love it because I've hit on this a few times, is after the match yesterday, post-match press conference, I don't know what the question was asked, but he said, it would not be Manchester United without suffering a little bit. And I love that quote because I always say, we never, ever do it the easy way. Yeah, we never, ever do it in the way where we are so comfortable. We can lay back with our hands up behind our head, feet up, and go down easy street. We've never done it in our history. We've never done it to win when we won the treble. We've never really done it. Typically, all the Premier Leagues that we won under Sir Alex Ferguson, they were always closer than I think a lot of us would have liked, or that we thought it should have been. Winning the Champions League in 2008 again, we did not do it the easy way. We went to penalties. It was very stressful. We always do it probably the most difficult way, but I think that's what makes this club so special and why we love it so much. So, again, he gets it. And, I just talked a little bit about Matheus Cunha being a fan. And, this was talked about quite a bit, and also Bryan Mbeumo, but, Cunha speaking after the match yesterday, and Cunha said, he was asked what his message is to Manchester United fans, and he said and told us, I am one of them. This is the club I grew up watching, and to be here is a mix of sensations. To help them, it is my dream come true. I love it. I love it. I think I think we've done so well in getting specifically to play. I think we've done well in all the players that Ineos has gotten in so far, but specifically these two guys, Cunha and Mbeumo, they feel different. They're playing different, and there's just a different feeling around this team with them in it. It's when you look at this team and you compare it to last season, it's a totally different feeling that they're giving off right now. And I'm very, very happy. Let me get to the chat real quick. I did mess up the beginning of the show, but with no sound. Lyle says, we shall talk more about what I am cooking for the channel 2 in the Discord. I love it. I love it. Lyle's always cooking something. I love it, man. I love it. But I got really lucky that Lyle found this channel, yeah? And the rest of you as well. But, Lyle's been immense helping out the show. Box is here, says, yo, Eric, yo, Lyle. What's up, Box? Box has nice red lighting. Thank you. And Lyle says, La Liga, score updates at the moment. Betis, 0, Atletico Madrid 1. Thank you for keeping us updated. Box, I actually want you to give me a little bit of your opinions and thoughts, because you didn't join us after the Red Devil recap, for the Red Devil recap yesterday. How you feeling? What are you thinking? Are you thinking we're going to win the league now? Because some of our fans have gone off the deep end, and they're saying we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. UCL is guaranteed. I mean, I was listening to all the reactions. So I just want you to, because I love your opinions. Let me know what you think of the win yesterday and how you feel of the team. So Lyle says, true, the new signings are brilliant. Oh, also glad Casemiro is playing so well. He is holding up his own, and I think what's helping him right now is that we're not playing so many matches, even though for himself, he's played, quite a bit of matches because he is doing the whole Brazil thing. And, yeah, I mean, it is, he is doing well. So it is good. One of the things that I'm going to hit on real quick is that, Baleba played against us the other day. There's been a lot of talk about Baleba. United had a conversation with Brighton for about a week or two in the summer transfer window. Towards the end, looking to get Baleba in. He was apparently the top target. Brighton holding out for 100 million plus. Pretty much made it not possible, and it ended. He seems to be unhappy that that's happened. His performances have dipped in the Premier League and at Brighton so far in the beginning of the season. I'm going to be quite honest. Watching him play against us in the match on Saturday, his presence was there, but again, I don't think it's 100 million worth. Now, it's a bit tough. I think it's a bit rough to judge him based off of one match versus us. I think a lot of people use that sort of as a standard. Usually, I mean, if you play good against us, you beat us, join us, type of thing. But from his game that I saw, again, he is the sort of guy that is a destroyer. He is not going to be the guy, if you want a progressive midfielder, if you want a guy that can play defense, but also sort of like Cass, I guess, in a certain way, because Cass does do pretty well in the forward positions. He does have a goal in him. I mean, he did sort of get the goal. It was a deflection. I don't know if they gave it to him. I think they gave it as a own goal, but Casemiro does do quite well progressively forward as well. I don't think Baleba is really that. I think Baleba is more of an Ugarte, where he's not going to give you the outlet passes out of the back, but he will break up the play. He will run somebody over. He will foul you. He will put his body into somebody. He will let you know that he's there. But if you want somebody that's kind of going to do both sides of the game, I think your guy is probably Wharton compared to Baleba. Now, a story has come out, coincidentally enough, after we've played Brighton, after he was subbed off at about the 60th minute mark. And the story has come out saying Manchester United are expected to prioritize a move for Adam Wharton over any potential pursuit of Carlos Baleba, which is definitely a shift because Carlos Baleba, for quite some time, has been the number one sort of option, apparently reported. And now it seems that he's slipped down the pecking order and Adam Wharton has taken his spot as number one. There's also another piece of news talking about that United and Newcastle are among clubs closely monitoring Elliot Anderson, and Nottingham Forest are aware and are currently demanding a fee of around 100 million to 120 million pounds in the summer. And that's coming from Pletigol. And people are asking the question, can we get a Wharton Anderson pivot? We talked about that last time, about who's the best pairing. But I think, in terms of this, I would really like the club. I think, for us, where we are now, I think what we need is probably, I would say, another 2 Premier League players. Premier League sort of proven players that have been in the game, that have sort of already adapted to the league, to English football. I think that's the move that we need to do. I'm not against the foreign players. I think we can always look to do deals from other countries and other leagues. And I think we have to. I think we have to have a mix because they do tend to be cheaper. Also, not every best player in the world is playing in the Premier League. There is very good talent out there. But I'm looking at the way Cunha and Mbeumo has sort of already had an impact, has already sort of changed the dynamic of our team, and have basically had little to no adjustment period. When you compare them to players that, if you go and get them from the Bundesliga or the Italian League or the Serie A, or La Liga. And I think for our squad to make another push going into next season, I think we could well do with another 2 players that could have a similar impact and immediately, like Cunha and like Mbeumo. So, Lyle says he doesn't want to get too carried away, but the team really looks like it's finally clicking and we charge on. Yeah, I think we could have a little bit more hope, a little bit more belief. I don't know how long this run is going to last. This run can end next week. I hope it doesn't. Knock on wood. I hope it continues for as long as possible. It could end next week. It could end in 2 weeks. We can win another 4 matches. I think we need to still continue to take it match by match. But I think we also get to be a bit more positive. We get to feel a lot more better about our team. And I think we should also try to enjoy it as well. I think we should try to enjoy it as well out there in the fan base. The United fans should try and enjoy this because we've been very patient. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, and it's been a lot of downs more than ups. But, the storm, as Amorim likes to quote it, has been kind of hanging around our squad and Old Trafford and United for a bit now. And it seems like the clouds are parting. It seems like it. I get the cautiousness because it is 3 matches, it is 3 wins, and we all know we need more. And that's why there is a bit of cautiousness in some of our fan base, even from me and from Lyle and some other and loads of other people around the world. Because we have the understanding, we know we need more than these 3 matches. We know we need more than these 3 wins. We know we need to continue to be consistent. We know we need to continue to putting in performances week in, week out. So we understand that. But I think we should try and enjoy it as well, yeah, because the way it's gone, it started at Sunderland. We had the international break. I had my worries that might disrupt our flow. It might disrupt, how it's been in the past. And so far, things have been going differently. I think I've said normally Manchester United would get a good result, go on international break, come back, and forget how to play football with each other and have a shit result. That did not happen. We went on international break. We continued the run. We beat Liverpool away, first time in 9 years at Anfield. And 2 on the bounce. That was the first one as well. And now we've gotten 3 on the bounce, 3 in a row. And that was the first time in about 2 years. So on face value, it does seem like things are changing. It does seem like things are different because we're doing things that we haven't really been doing, either in short periods of time or long periods of time. So I think you can say that we are basically bubbling on the surface of that. This is potentially we are heading down the path of this can be different. So Lyle says on the Premier League website, Casemiro still credited with the goal. Well, good for him. We'll give it. Uncle Cass deserves it. Uncle Cass deserves a goal. So we'll take it. If they give him the goal, they give him the goal. So yeah. Lyle says I would say Wharton is the better option moving forward. I think he would be better for Mano. And Lyle saying he's cautiously optimistic. Yeah, I think Wharton probably is the better pick. And I think Wharton is probably, if you're looking at Kobe Mano, I think Wharton with Kobe Mano probably balances itself out. But also, you know what? I think you could probably partner Baleba with Mano as well. But I think in terms of what we kind of need to replace Casemiro, essentially, Uncle Cass, it probably is a Wharton. It's got to be somebody that can do kind of what he does, but with legs. And Warren has Premier League experience as well. But in terms of progressive passes, in terms of carrying the ball forward, in terms of being involved, not just on the defensive side, but the attacking side, I think Wharton fits that bill a lot more than Baleba. So, but again, I'm going to trust Ineos on this one because you know what? They've been doing really good. I mean, how good has Matthijs de Ligt been for us? It's his second season. He's definitely grown more into the role. Look at the other players we signed. I think Maz will play a more important role once he sort of gets his fitness under wraps because he's been a little bit in and out. He's been a little bit hurt and stuff like that. So I think once he comes back in, I mean, he was one of our top players, and him and De Ligt were probably the top 2 signings last season. And right now, it seems like Mbeumo and Cunha are the top 2 signings this season. And Ineos are doing a very, very excellent job signing the players. It is different. And I kind of did state this the other day on my social media that, I've seen people talking about this. Again, we're not going to fix 10 years of mistakes and fuck-ups in 1 to 2 seasons, in 1 to 2 years. It is going to take 3 or 4 years. So far, we've had 2 summer transfer windows under Ineos, and I think all of the players that they've signed, basically, have been very good, especially when you compare it to the previous time. So I think that's helping us. And if you carry on that trajectory and you give him another 2, we should be in a very, very, very excellent spot. So Lyle also has said drop a like, subscribe, and get in the Discord, and has dropped the Discord link. If you're not in the Discord, you should join the Discord. It is a very good place to be. Excellent conversations. We keep you up to date with the latest news when we are not live, and also just general discussions when we're not live. And you make friends in there, and you make new connections, and you don't got to do it with me. I am in there, but I'm just saying, if you guys are having the urge or the feeling to chat, and Eric isn't live or Eric isn't around, you can do it amongst yourselves, and that's the whole point of the community. So if you got Discord, get in there, pop in there, have a look around. I think you'll be quietly impressed. Lyle did make up the whole thing, and he did a very, very, very good job on that. So let's shift a little bit of gears, though, and I'm going to jump back in to some of the things that I need to. Fox says, would you keep the same 11 for the Forest game? I think so. I think so. I don't know, though. I think the bigger question. Well, it depends on their team. I can't really analyze their team in terms of, I don't know. I don't watch Forest enough, and I haven't really watched them at all this season. And they've changed managers twice already. So knowing Diceball and them being defensive, and Nuno was defensive. I think after that performance, I think you need to start with the same team, the confidence. I feel like Ruben might change it, though. He does like to make a change or two. He doesn't really like to keep... he doesn't really play exactly the winning team continues over all the time. He does like to make changes. I would assume he might make changes maybe based on Nottingham's team, in terms of, do they got tall players? Are they quite good in the air? Are they physical? Are they set piece specialists? I can't really analyze them in that way. Maybe you guys can help me out. But I can't really tell you how Nottingham is playing, because I literally haven't even watched a match of them this season. Do they got quick players? I think those things will matter in what Ruben does with the team. I would say, at face value, I think with the confidence that we were playing at home, and the manner that we went up 3-0, and that how we were basically really controlling the game up until the substitutes, I think you need to have Cunha and Buemo. I would like to see Sesko out there. It is a bit different with Sesko there. I think Ruben does like an aspect of having Mount in there. And obviously Mount didn't play because he had a little bit of an injury worry, and they don't want to risk him. So, there could have been a potential that he was starting in there, and maybe it would have went different. Everything happens kind of for a reason. And sometimes you do need a little bit of luck. I mean, just food for thought. I mean, what if Mason Mount didn't have an injury concern and he was fully fit? Maybe Ruben would have started Mount, and he would have started Cunha, and he would have started Mbeumo. Maybe we would have played differently. Maybe we wouldn't have won the game in the way we did. Or maybe it wouldn't have had an effect at all, and maybe we would have just went on and performed. Or maybe we would have played better. But, it is quite interesting, because we all know how much he loves Mount. We all know... I kind of feel like he probably would have liked to carry Mount into that game over from the last match. But I don't think he's willing to risk Mount and have him go missing for 3 months, which is why he didn't play. So, Bach says he'd probably keep the same team. Dyche played a 4-2-3-1 yesterday. But is their team, attribute-wise, characteristic-wise, is their team strong and tall? Do they have like fast, quick players? Because I think that's going to dictate how Ruben sets up his team, because that's what Ruben does. Again, I've talked about this many times. Ruben is not going to he might tweak his system a little bit. We seen that in the match against Brighton. I mean, at one point, it was basically kind of like a 4-2-1-3 or 4-2-2-2 or something like that. Because Luke Shaw was going from left center back and was dropping in the midfield, and Bruno was pushing up further along and kind of playing in sort of a central number 10. So he did tweak it in that way. And he's been telling people that's what he can do. And that's why Ruben says it doesn't matter if the starting lineup on paper is a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, because you can make them play and have the shape change. And you can have sort of a four at the back at times. This is what he was trying to tell people. And people become so obsessed with this number of the formation. But that's why I always loved his system when he came in, because the way it plays, up to his discretion, you can tweak it into like 7 different things. It's just about what you choose to tweak it as. And it's also about what kind of players you have available, what kind of qualities they have, and what they can do on the pitch in the style of their game. Having Sesko up top makes us play in a different way than if you have Cunha, Mbeumo, and Mount, who can basically all interchange up top. And the shape becomes different. The characteristics of the team is different. He's been telling us this for time. I mean, I understood it and I listened. I think you guys did as well. A lot of people didn't, but, we are there. Elias's Forest are struggling big time, but we need to be careful because first home game for Dyche in the league, they might be ready for United. Elliot Anderson has been their bright light. Well, this is, I think it's quite interesting, yeah, because it's almost like we're going through sort of a, what's the word I'm looking here for? It's almost like we're going here for like an interview, a test, sort of. We play Brighton. Baleba is there. He's having sort of a test against us, United. We're having a look at him. Now we're going to play Forest, and there's another guy that's been linked with us, Elliot Anderson, and he's been their best player. And he's going to play for us against us. And, we're all going to be watching to see how he does against us, and we're going to rate him. So it's a little bit ironic. First Baleba, now Elliot Anderson. Boxes sells / Williams, Morello, Milinkovic, Savonia, Anderson, Louise, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White, and Doy, Igor Jesus. Their goalkeeper and center back pair were really good last season. Sells and Milinkovic. I know about Sells. I think he's actually really good. He's a big guy. Box says they're missing 2 of their key men from last season. Anya, I know Anya, and Wood, obviously. Wood. Bloody Wood. Yeah, that's another thing. Everywhere Wood goes, apparently Sean Dyche, Sean Dyche appears. He loves Wood. Sean Dyche loves Wood. Somehow, wherever Wood is, Sean Dyche appears. And then we get to see Wharton a couple of games after Forest. It's literally like we're lining up to test our midfield, and whoever performs the best is the one that we're going to go for. I think the fans are going to do that. I don't think Manchester United are necessarily going to do that, but I think it does play a little bit of part. I mean, if you do perform against Manchester United and you have an excellent game, I think it is going to pique our interest a little bit more, and look into it, So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't know how Ruben is necessarily going to... I do kind of expect Ruben to make changes in terms of that, whatever characteristics he's looking at that he sees in the Nottingham Forest team, he will adjust his team in terms of starting players based on those characteristics to give us different characteristics to be able to go out there and play the match. I think it's going to be a bit... It's going to be a bit of a difficult match. Not a difficult match. Well, I think it could be a difficult match, but I think it's going to be another important test, right? I mean, we had the Liverpool test. We had the Brighton test, the one after, getting the win against the big team. And we said, Are you going to show us it's something different? Are you going to show us that, can it be different this time? And I think they tried to tell us, yes, I think we need a little bit more to really be fully grounded 100%, but we are behind them on that. We are feeling different. We are feeling more positive. I think this one, depending on how and what I expect Diceball to be, and Nottingham Forest playing Diceball, I think this one is a big test as well, because when a team comes and plays football, United typically don't really have a problem. On the day, we do, if we get outbeat, we get outperformed, but we don't tend to struggle in the way that we struggle when we play against a team that sits in with a low block, is very structured, is very disciplined, gives you no space, and sort of plays what I like to call anti-football to a certain degree. Listen, I get it. It's a playing style. You play. You don't have maybe necessarily the quality to go toe-to-toe. I get it. But still, I think it's going to be a big test, because if we can go away from home, and we've struggled away from home, and we did good to get the win at Anfield, but we struggled away from home. It's been a bit nervy. It's a different sort of feeling when we're home and we're playing at Old Trafford. We're a lot more comfortable. I think this is another big test to indicate if we can go away from home and we can unlock a team that sits in with a low block and is very structured and is disciplined, and we can score 2 to 3 goals in the match, and we can get a win, and we can play our game, and we can look threatening, and we can create chances. I think that's another answer to the question of, is this different? Have they found some answers to some of the problems that we've had at Manchester United? Has Ruben and has the players found some of the answers to some of the problems? Because when I go back a few weeks ago and I was thinking, and I lost a little bit of hope in Ruben, because I just was like, there's too many issues, there's too many problems, and I don't know if he's going to be able to have the time to find the answers for him to get the results that he needs. And since the Sunderland match, it seems like we've clicked a little bit. It seems like the players and himself have found some answers to some of the problems that we have. We still have problems. We're still going to have issues. We're still going to have, bad games here and there. We're still going to probably hit a period where we do end up struggling again. I probably fully expect that, because I just don't think you go from what we were as a team that was struggling and sort of Jekyll and Hyde to all of a sudden now you are, world beaters, and you are a fluid, winning, ripping machine. If we do that, I'll be over the moon and I'll love it. I just feel like there has to be, there's got to be a little bit of give and tug. You know what I mean? We're doing well now. I do expect it to take a little bit of a dip, but let's see what happens when it does dip. Because again, sort of like Schmeichel was talking about lemons, it's not about not making mistakes. It's not about, losing a match, because all good teams are going to lose a match. All good players are going to make a mistake. It's about the response of when you hit that period. How do you handle it, and how do you come back from it? So, yeah. Lyle says, and then we get to see Wharton. Oh, yeah, I did that one. Ray says, like the new setup, nice red light. Yeah, it looks good. It came out very good. Came out very good. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit and make some things to it, but yeah, it worked very well. I got these lights. I was struggling to try and get it to light up red. And then my father had floodlights, and he said, "Why don't you try these?" So I put them in, and it came out very excellent. So, yeah, I'm loving the background. We've gotten it to work. I got a couple other things. I might put like a thing. Oh, the camera's the opposite way. I might put a thing here, down here. I got a couple like LED things I want to hang them up. So yeah. But we'll talk about that at the end. I got some questions, and we'll ask about it at the end of the show. Yeah. So What did I want to jump into next? Real quick. I'm gonna hit a couple things along the way. Once I find them. Manchester United's win over Brighton was the first time since Bruno Fernandes' debut that they scored 4 goals in a Premier League game without him registering a goal or assist. He's getting help, somebody said. I think that's actually very important, yeah, because we've talked about a lot about how, my father would say this all the time, like, Bruno is a problem in the terms of that, Bruno has a shit game, the team is shit, and everybody plays shit. And I've always sort of agreed with that in terms of that we can't be a one-man team. And I think that's why I'm feeling a bit more positive, because it's like right now we're not really a one-man team anymore, are we? I mean, Cunha was running the show and Buemo was second to him, but was helping out. You had Ahmad was doing great as well. Bruno was doing his job in there as well. He was doing good, and Cass was doing good, and Sesko was doing what he could. And then the back line, you had Delit and Yoro were doing their thing. It just feels a lot more like the players are actually all kind of pulling their weight. I mean, Lemons did his thing as well. I think he could have done better on the free kick, but I can't, I'm not going to criticize him too much. And, he's just getting started. So I think he's done well to jump in when he has. And it's fine. I think the kid will work on it. I think he'll get better. I don't think that'll happen again. But it just feels like everybody is pulling their weight a lot more. And this is what I was talking about last time when I said, like, when I was talking about Rasmus Højlund and some other players, and I'm like, listen, at United, as soon as Rasmus stepped in, all the onus was on him. He had to perform. He had to score 20 goals a season. He had to carry us on our back. You have to be the striker. You have to come in hitting the ground. And it didn't happen. And the second season was worse, and he really was struggling as a human, as a player, as a striker, and he needed help, and he wasn't getting help, and then the team was struggling. And it was just all this pressure being pressed down on him. And I agreed with my father in terms of that. When Bruno played like shit, we played like shit. Because our team was basically relying a lot on Bruno Fernandes. And you can't have that, because that's not a team. That's a one-man team. And but it's not Bruno's fault. It's his fault if he plays like shit and then we play like shit because we're relying on him. But it's not his fault that the dynamic of the squad was heavily relied on him. We've made good signings. He shifted back, and now it seems like we got more players in there pulling their own weight, which is exactly what we need. I mean, let me read that again. Manchester United's win over Brighton was the first time since Bruno Fernandes' debut that they scored 4 goals in a Premier League game without him registering a goal or an assist. Do you know how actually important that is? That we were able to score 4 goals, get a win, and Bruno didn't get a goal or didn't get an assist. I think that's massive. For us. I think that's massive, because that means that we can perform and we can win, and we don't necessarily need Bruno to be putting in an 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10 performance for us to get a win. I think that's really important. And I think these dynamics in the squad are changing. And I'm hoping, we're seeing these little indications popping up a little bit all over the place. And I'm hoping that this is actually the real time that, I'm begging and I'm praying that Ineos, when they said that they wanted to bring Ruben in during that period so he could be 1 year ahead so that he doesn't have to do it in the season that we're in now. He's had all that time to adapt to the Prem. He's had all that time to learn. The players have had all that time to adapt and learn to him. I'm really hoping that they were actually right and that it actually pays off, because it seems like we could be in a period where this is what's happening, along with the new additions that we've gotten. So Footyverse69 is here. New chatter. Welcome, buddy. How you doing? It says top 8 is my realistic expectation this year. From last year, 15th place to top 8 or even Europa League football would be great. I think that's respectable, and I think that's also just, common sense. And thank you for sharing your opinion as well. I would say this. I agree with what you're saying. I feel a little bit like we are in a little bit of the unknown, because there's a part of me that feels like 15th wasn't the real thing. It wasn't the real position. It's where we actually finished, and I get that. And, that's tangible. Like, that's, it's something to, like, you look at it and you say, okay, that's where we finished. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, kind of, really. It's cemented at 15th. But part of me still holds the fact that with the change that we made, and again, it was a massive change, and I think basically mostly all of our fan base overlooked it, including myself. We thought Ruben was going to come in, we were going to get a manager bounce, he was going to come and play this positive football, this system that worked so well at Sporting, and it was doing great in the Champions League, and he's, a team like Sporting is beating a team like Manchester City, and they're scoring all these goals, and we thought, like, if you come to United, set it up, couple weeks, we should be okay. We massively overlooked that, and it didn't go the way that we thought it was going to go. But I still hold that part of, to make that massive change in the middle of that season, I think it was very disruptive, and it was very hard to get under control, and it was just a massive change that you weren't going to be able to really sort out in the midst of the season that we had last season. We are almost like 1 year into that now, and I think you're seeing the team there's a lot more cohesion, plus we've added some extra players that fit the system very well. So I think we're a little bit in the unknown, in that I don't actually know where we should kind of be aiming for. I think we should be definitely for Europe. But Europe in terms of Europa League, or should we be pushing for the Champions League? Because I get the whole 15th to top 8, and I think that is realistic. I think for us, we'll be anywhere from 4th to 8th. I think realistically, that's where we can realistically finish at this moment in time, where we are in the table, how we are performing right now. I think realistically, 4th to 8th is probably the most realistic. But I just don't know where we actually are going to be aiming for, because I don't think 15th was the real finish last season. I don't think it's what was actually the level of our football club. And I don't think we'll finish near that again, because I think things are different this season, and I think Ruben's gotten a foothold in it. So I'm a little bit in the unknown. I feel like this team can finish 4th, but I also feel like this team, because of last season and thinking about last season, this team could finish 8th. So yeah, I'm good. Footyverse69. I'm good. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling a bit more excited than the team. Players like Cunha and Buemo's got me really excited again, and I feel like the players are upping their game. So, Ray says we have a chance for top 4. We have a lot of rest, and we get stronger by time. And I hope so. And I think that's what a lot of us are hoping for, Ray. That we are playing less matches. We have a lot more rest. We should be staying fresher. We should have less injuries. That can definitely, all those things can, play together. Also, technically, you would say we have more time on the training ground, which could be benefiting us as well. And Ruben. And, I think we can have a chance for top 4. I mean, Ray did say as well, I kind of skipped it, and I apologize, but he said we had a good weekend, some results to our favor. And I said that before we played the match. I said we have to be there. And right now we are there. We are in the mix. And we have to stay there. Right now we are where we kind of want to be, in terms of that we are in the mix. We need to continue to perform and win matches, because as you see this season, I think this season the league is going to be a cracker. Look at the league table. You got like Sunderland is in second. You got like Chelsea is in eighth or something like that. I mean, the table looks really weird, but each week there's like all these results are happening. Teams are dropping points, and nobody is really sort of running away with it in terms of, if you look from second down. I mean, Arsenal are ahead. I think they're 6 points up, but yeah, I mean, we are where we need to be, and if we continue to perform, we're going to be okay because we're going to be seizing opportunities. I mean, I expect next week, and I'm going to look at some of the fixtures, but I mean, I believe in 2 weeks' time, Liverpool have to play City, and that's why we need to keep this momentum and this form up, because that's huge. That's massive for us. I mean, if they draw against each other, they both drop 2 points, that's huge for us. Chelsea are looking a little bit iffy, wishy-washy. I mean, if they draw or they lose another match, that's fantastic for us, especially if we're winning these matches. And again, now is the time. We had the opening, the hardest opening out of all the teams in the Premier League. We're past that period. Now it's our time to get some of the easier matches, some of the smaller teams, a little bit more comfortable games than playing the traditional top 4, top 6. We got to get these wins. Now the hard matches is coming for the other teams that we're supposed to be fighting for. We got to capitalize on this opportunity. We're in a good space right now. We've hit a little bit of form. We've got 3 matches. If we can continue this, we're going to be in a very, 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 very good spot. And so I hope that happens. Footyverse says, the only part I'm scared with Ruben is that he takes small teams very lightly. He does his proper homework. He does his proper homework against big clubs, but not against small clubs. I think it's not really. I don't know if it's Ruben, Footyverse. Again, I think we have a problem, and we've had a problem. Our team, United in general, we've had a problem against small teams for quite some time. I don't think it's Ruben. I think it's the squad. I think it's the club. If I look back to Ten Hag, if I look back to Solskjaer, and maybe you could probably say even Mourinho, we tend to always do well against the big teams, or at least have very good performances or high intensity performances against the big teams. It was always the little teams. I mean, remember Solskjaer at the end, losing to Norwich, and every other small team that you say, I mean, he has to beat them. He's got to get the 3 points. So we've been doing that for quite some time. And, under Ten Hag specifically, I remember we struggled immensely playing these smaller teams with the low blocks. So I think it's a club issue in that we have to figure out how to unlock these teams. We have to figure out how to get over that hump in terms of unlocking these teams, creating chances, putting the ball into the back of the net, being clinical, and getting the game in our favor. So that's why I said this Nottingham Forest game, I think for me, is another test. It's another big test. It's a good test. I'm excited for it, and I think it's coming at a perfect time because we've had the Liverpool test. We hit that. We had the test after the Liverpool win in Brighton at home, and we passed that one. Now, away from home, against a team that is going to play dice ball, we're in a bit of form, and if they're going to do a low block, and they're going to be hard to break down, I think it's a perfect test for where we are right now. Because if we can unlock them, if we can score the goals, and we can win that match away from home against a low block team playing dice ball, I think it's a beautiful answer to that problem. So, but I get what you're saying. Good thing that we play one game a week. Bournemouth second. That's what it was. Thank you for correcting me. I'm off the top of my head. Bournemouth second. Sunderland are fourth. Who's third? City is fifth, and we're sixth now. I think that's how it is. Ray says for us to be successful, we have to win every game at home. Well, that is something that we definitely need to be doing, yeah? And that's something that, I mean, it's a good point, Ray. we have to turn Old Trafford back into a fortress. Yeah, I mean, we've heard that a few times from some different managers. The biggest one and the one that we know the most is obviously Sir Alex Ferguson. But we have to, Old Trafford has to return to a place where you do not come to our home and beat us. You do not come into our home and outplay us. You do not come into our home and outperform us. Away matches are always tough and you might struggle with them. But at the very least, if you're going to give us some stability and you're going to give us, some confidence and concrete like runs, Old Trafford has to become a fortress again. I think Ruben knows this. I think he believes this. I think he's looking to do that. I think he knows the importance of this. And I think, some people don't like me talking about him and his time at Sporting, but again, that's where he's had his success so far. And I think actually, even though it is a totally different league with totally different levels, I think that there are some things that Ruben has learned at his time there in the situation that he was in. And I think that it does help him because, listen, one of the things that's good, and I understand there are different levels, but there is a similarity to it. Because I know the Portuguese league. I have 3 Portuguese friends. I've been friends with them for 15 plus years now. I've watched Portuguese games, Portuguese league games. I know a little bit more than maybe the average Premier League fan or, whatever. Portugal, it's really, if you're the manager of Sporting, when you play Benfica, it's a big match. When you play Porto, it's a big match. Those games tend to be, them duking it out. Head to head, it's open, it's very back and forth. They're the big matches. Every other team in the Portuguese league, if you're Sporting, for example, and you're on a 10-game winning streak, when you go play a smaller team, they all play in low blocks. They all play super defensive. They all play negative football. And you literally have to try and unlock them. So from that experience, and Ruben had good experience with that because his team was playing very well, I think he can maybe transfer sort of that to United playing against a team that's going to play in a low block that we struggled in. He's got to find the answers. It is different for the Premier League. The Premier League, obviously, when you got United playing versus like Nottingham Forest or I don't want to say Bournemouth because they're up there right now, but maybe a mid-table like Everton and they play a low block, the quality is totally different than Sporting playing a team like Boavista. Yeah, so you're gonna have to step up a level. You're gonna have to find a little bit extra, but there is similarities in there. Steph's here as well. Shout out Steph, says big up Eric and experienced Red Devils. Yes, Steph. How you doing? Do you like the background, Steph? It's the debut of the background. Do you like it? Steph says if United win our next 2 Premier League games before international break, we are contenders for top 4 surely. Well, yeah, I think that's probably the best thing. I forgot there was another international break. I hate the international breaks. Somebody told me that's what I was going to say. Somebody told me we didn't have one until March after the last one, and then I found out that was inaccurate. So whoever told me that, you lied to me, and you got my hopes up for nothing, because now we have another one coming up. But yeah, actually, I think that's a very good point, Steph, as well. If we win these next 2 matches, and we go into this international break, we go into the international break on a high, and I think that's the least that we can do, and that's what I want. I'm quite confident. I think we can get a result against Nottingham Forest, and after that, Footyverse says, Spurs are 3rd. Oh, yeah. Frank also changed them. Last year, they were 17th, even below than us. Well, yeah, I mean, first, listen, their situation is a bit different than ours because Frank, Premier League manager, and he does play a decently good, style of football. I mean, at Brentford, when he was there, they played good football. They played good attacking football. He's been in the league for quite some time. He understands the league. He understands the opposition. So it's different to what we did. He also probably plays a system that's well suited to the players at Tottenham. And that's why sort of, you get him in and it goes quite well in the beginning. They are third. They are quite different from last season. They're not, they finished 17th, but I think with that situation, it's a little bit more of a plug and play than to us. Do you guys see the difference in getting a manager like Thomas Frank from another Premier League club that he's been managing in the Premier League to what we did, and to how our manager plays and where he came from? Ours was always going to take more time. Ours was always going to be more difficult. Ours was always going to cost more money. It's why Liverpool didn't go down the route of getting Amorim. That was what their assessment was, that his system and that change would cost a lot of money. It's going to take a lot more time, and it's going to have a lot more growing pains in it. And so that's why they didn't go for Amorim and they went for a Slot. Although now you could kind of say, well, was that the right decision? They did spend a lot of money anyway, and they are in a bad position. So, Steph says, love the new studio, Eric. Well, I love you guys are loving it. I think it came out really good. So, I'm happy with it as well. And we'll be adding to it as we go along. So, Footy says we have to win our next 2 matches for the United Strand guy. Bro needs a haircut. I need a haircut as well. I think I kind of joined in with him a little bit. Obviously, my hair isn't as big as that, but my hair is quite long, and it's really starting to piss me off, and I need to go get a haircut. I always do this. I don't know why I do this, but I always do this. But I don't know. I've been on the fence of, should I join in with our brother, the United Strand, and just see if we wait to get 5 to 5. I feel like joining in with him. I kind of feel bad that he's the only one sort of doing this. I'm not gonna get the attraction that he gets and the clicks and likes, and I don't want to be biting him or copying him or anything like that. But my hair is quite annoyingly long, and I do need to go get a haircut. But I'm like, you know what? There's 2 games left. The thing is that I won't keep it up. I didn't start this challenge, so if we end up not winning one of the matches, I'm still gonna go get a haircut. But it's been 550 days since he had his last haircut. That's insane, dude. It's insane. I mean, every time I see a picture of him, and I feel like I see a weekly picture of him. His hair grows he's like a chia pet at this point. I don't know if you guys know what chia pets are, but he's like a chia pet because I see a picture of him one week, and it's only been a week, and his hair has grown 3 times in a week, 3 times the size. And I'm like, how fast does this guy's hair grow? It's crazy. Footy says you should join too. Not shaving my beard until United gets a UCL spot. I like that. That's a big one. That's a big one. Not shaving your beard. You know what? I might do something like that, but I want to be a little bit original. So I'm gonna try and think of something. And maybe we'll implement it. But you know what? For the next 2 remaining matches, I'll keep it as it is. I really hate it though. It is really pissing me off. But you know what? I'll join in with our brother, and I'll keep it for the time being. For the time being. But I can't. I'm not one of those people. I can't even do that, man. He has, respect to him. I can't do that. I would be going absolutely mad. That I can't get my hair cut, So, let me bring in a couple more things that we needed to talk about. We do have about 15-20 minutes left in the show. So get your thoughts in, get your opinions in. And you guys can, write whatever, you want. It doesn't have to be about what I'm saying. If you want to ask any questions or anything like that, or you have any statements to make, feel free to get them in. I'm just looking for some of the things that I want to hit on the talking point. Danny Welbeck had his say about us, against us, obviously being one of our former players. He said, it's the best team we've faced in a while. They were very well organized and structured. They always have incredible players. Danny Welbeck. He always scores. He still always manages to try and score against us. Gary Neville was saying that Cunha and Mbeumo will help Manchester United to win many matches. I think that was the reason why we went and bought 2 number 10s. And again, I don't think that it was the wrong sort of decision. I think United should have always been able to get the 2 10s, a striker, because we needed them, and we should have gotten the midfielder. So I don't really like to look at the fact that, why did we go get 2 10s when we should have gotten a midfielder? Because in reality, we needed 2 10s, we needed a striker, and we needed a midfielder. It's not either or. We needed all of them, because I don't think I would be happy with getting a midfielder, 1 10 and a striker, or 2 10s, no striker, and a midfielder. We needed all of them. So either way, I think we should have gotten all of them. But you know what? If Ruben and Wilcox and the rest of them made the decision and they said, listen, we're going to drop Bruno back. We're playing less matches. We're playing in the Prem. They felt like that we can handle it. And that was the decision they made in terms of that. Listen, if we move Bruno back and play him next to Casemiro, we'll have Meno, we'll have Agarte. And that's what they identified in their plan and said, no, we get the attack. We fix the attack. We score more goals. We win more matches. And I'm okay with that, because that's always my mentality. You need to score to win, and you outscore your opponent. I'm an attacking guy first. I've always been, always will be. Kind of like that Fergie mentality. If they score 5, we score 6. I think offense is the best defense. So you know what? My worry was always if he was just actually going to be able to get the attack to actually click and score, and it seems like right now we're trending towards that. And if we could score three goals a game, 3 to 4, we're going crazy. We're going crazy. So, imagine, Footy says, imagine the trolling faces on a daily basis from both sets of fans or non-United. I mean, yeah. I mean, forget that. Forget the trolling from the fans. Imagine just going out in public and people not knowing who you are, and just like going to the store and they're just giving you a look, while you're at the store trying to buy something. They're like, bro, your hair is out of this world, man. I wanted to see Jamie Carragher cry so bad on Gary's Insta videos. They do these banters during United versus. Yeah, I mean, they make good content. Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to bring in is, here you go. Here's what I wanted to hit on. United has won 3 games in a row since Ruben Amorim changed the system to a back 4. And I would just like to give an applaud. This is probably quite toxic for me, but I like to give a clap and award to all the Twitter or X tacticos out there, because you guys are absolute geniuses, yeah? You guys are absolute geniuses talking about we need to change the system. We need to play a back 4. And, Ruben did well to listen to all of you out there, because it was always the system. It was always the formation. It was always the fact that we had a 3 in the back or a 5 in the back and not a 4 in the back. And if we had a 4 in the back, the world is gold and we're the conquerors. But now, the ones that backed Ruben, at least for now, temporarily, we get to gloat a little bit. And Ruben gets to be a little bit, not redeemed, but to say that he was right, because he kept saying that it's not the system. It doesn't matter about the numbers. I can have the system play in any way I wanted to. It's more about the players we have and the characteristics that they show. I just grabbed that because I saw somebody post it and I thought it was quite funny, because, it was a little bit of rage bait, and people were biting at it as well, which is always hilarious to see on the internet. I mean, people literally couldn't tell that this was sarcasm. That he was being a bit, the way it was being a bit sarcastic about it. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny that he bring that in there. Ruben Amorim quotes, I guess he was asked how does he feel after the win, and he said, I feel good. 3 points at home. We played well and suffered at the end. It's a bit our fault, I think it was. He said they gave everything. They ran. They played with the ball. They shot when they needed to. Good match. And I agree with that from yesterday. I mean, it was a bit our fault. I think the subs had a little bit of a negative impact. Sometimes, you put the subs on to have a positive impact, but we were already playing real positive. And this is sort of the thing. Ruben holds out a little bit, doesn't make the subs. He gets a little bit of pelters for not making quick enough changes. Yesterday, you're up 3-0. You expect your team to get over the line. You expect your team to be comfortable. There's always that thing that you say, listen, it's not broke, don't fix it. Don't make too many changes. We kind of ruined the rhythm a little bit with the changes. I think it disrupted it. And we suffered a bit for it, but we still got over the line. And then people were like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have made those subs. But, I mean, listen, if he doesn't make the subs and we win the match 3-0 or 4-0 or 3-1 or something like that, people would be like, come on, you didn't make the subs. You know what I mean? It's a bit of do damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if we didn't make the subs, they'd have been like, come on, there was a perfect opportunity. We were up 3-0. You couldn't have given Heaven some minutes and Manu some minutes. And, we were cruising and you didn't sub them in till like the 75th minute. But now you see what happens. It could go either way. So I think we got to be light on it. And again, Amorim's message, but I think is important because he said this yesterday, yeah? He said, today is the time to enjoy, but tomorrow we must prepare for the next match. If you look at the standings, 1 week can change everything, which he's absolutely right about that. So we must have that fear of slipping back into a bad patch. And they absolutely do. And that is still very true. While we can get excited and we can be more positive and we can start talking about top 4, we are still in the point of sitting on the fence because one bad result or 2 bad results changes the whole dynamic again. That's just where we are. But we are in good form right now. We got 3 in a row and we look like we're uptrending. So I want to pull up, let me pull up the table so I could accurately, pan this out or paint the picture for us. Because I do need the table in front of my eyes. Table. This is not the sport that I want. Okay, Manchester United standings. So, Arsenal 22 points, Bournemouth in second with 18, Tottenham and Sunderland third and fourth with 17, Manchester City, Manchester United on 16 points, fifth and sixth, Liverpool and Villa under us on 15 points each, Chelsea in ninth with 14, Crystal Palace in 10th with 13th. So literally, I mean, like, I don't know how the fixtures are. I don't really expect them to go in this way, but technically, I mean, United are in 16th. If we lose and Brentford, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Villa, and Liverpool all win, and I assume, I don't know if that's even possible with the fixture list, but if they all win and we lose, I mean, we could all, we could drop back down to 10th, yeah? Based off of one result. So, we're up there right now, we're fighting, but, Ruben is right, we need to stay focused. One result can change everything, and that's why it's important that we go and win this match and we get another result, because it's going to secure our position a little bit more. And then the next match, we're going to have to do it again. It's going to secure our position a little bit more. There's some tough sort of fixtures. I mean, Bournemouth, if we take a look here, Bournemouth have to play City next week. Bournemouth is away from home. That's going to be, it's a tough match. They are sort of the giant killers, to a certain degree. And they're in very, very good form. I mean, they are unbeaten. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bournemouth is unbeaten in... Are they unbeaten this season? No. No. They have one loss, which is crazy. They have one loss, which was a loss to Liverpool on the first match of the league this season. But they are on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game unbeaten streak right now. And and they got to play City. So that's a big match right there for that. And there's also, let me see what they got after that. Then they got to play Villa, and they're also away from home as well. So those are two tough matches for them. Then they play West Ham, and they're home. Well, let's look at the two matches for the international break. Yeah, so they got to play City, they got to play Villa. So two tough matches. They might drop points there. They might, maybe they don't lose, but they might draw, which would be good for us in terms of if they draw against City. That's 2 points dropped for City and 2 points dropped for Bournemouth. That could do heaps of good for us if we win our match. Let's look at Tottenham real quick. Tottenham need to play. Well, they're playing the EFL Cup first, but we want Premier League. So Tottenham have to play Chelsea November 1st, which is, again, another huge fixture, especially for us, because Tottenham and Chelsea, I mean, if they draw, that's two drop points each. That's massive for us if we could get a result and a win. And then we have to play Tottenham as well. So that's a 6-pointer right there. And then after the international break, Arsenal have to play Tottenham as well. So these teams around us, they have the hard fixtures and the tough matches, which is why this is a very important period, man. Even Liverpool, who are right below us, and because they're below us, Liverpool have to play Crystal Palace in their next match. No, that's for the EFL Cup. I'm sorry. They have to play Villa in their next match, and Liverpool are home. And then they got to play Madrid, which is going to be a tough match for the Champions League. And then they have to play City before we go on international break. So, and Liverpool are not home for that. So, this table is quite crazy, and these fixtures are quite crazy. If we look at Sunderland, they got to play Everton, and then they have to play Arsenal before the international. So again, we are in a very, very excellent position right now in terms of that. We got to play Forest. Let me see. We got to play Forest, and then we got to play Tottenham before the international break. Yeah. If we can beat Forest and we can get something against Tottenham, we're going to be in a phenomenal position going into the international break, and it's exactly what we got to do. So, I've been sponsored by Monster Drinks. No, don't say that. That's why we have it on the back. We don't. If they want, they could give me a sponsorship. We should get a sponsorship. But bye, Footyverse. Need to go now. Enjoyed the stream. Cheers, man. Well, thank you for stopping by. Hope to see you back. Make sure you subscribe and come back, and we'll have a nice chat. We'll be back on. Is there Champions League this weekend? This weekend. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. Is there Champions League this week? Oh no. I don't think there is. I think it's next week. So we'll probably stream Wednesday or something like that. So yeah. Liverpool versus Aston Villa, Tottenham versus Chelsea. I mean, yeah, those are two huge matches, and they're gonna have this. I think we've hit the perfect point right now, and finally, I feel like we're getting a little bit of luck. You know what I mean? In terms of it's just a bit of some fortunate things. Like we're hitting a bit of form right now. The fixture list is a bit easier for us. It's a bit tougher for all our people that we have to compete with. And it just feels good because before it felt like every shit situation that United could probably get into, we were getting into, and it was hitting it for us. So, I'm quite happy about that. Amorim saying that I really appreciated the way the three forwards defended. Cunha did an excellent defensive job. It was completely different from the first matches. And Mbeumo is a machine. Sesko was there for every ball. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't fight in this league, you have no chance. Again, I think it's a huge statement, and Ruben is he's not a dumb guy. I've been saying this for quite some time. I think it is quite disrespectful to call this man an idiot or stupid, like he doesn't know what's going on. Again, when you listen to him speak, he's not telling us he's telling us what he thinks and what he believes. He's not telling us what we want to hear. Yeah. And he's telling us what he sees, what he believes, and what he actually thinks. He's not telling us what the fans want to hear. And he's calling it out, and he's telling us exactly what the truth is. And that's why I know that he understands what this football club is supposed to be. He understands what this project is. And he just understands Manchester United. He does. He does. Those statements, he gets what this club is about. He gets what this club is supposed to be, what the level is supposed to be. It's just different when you have to take this club out from the depths of the bottom of the ocean and raise it back to making it float in the ocean again. Yeah? It's different. But, it's like the Titanic. Like, the Titanic has sunken and is on the bottom ocean floor. You can technically take it out of the ocean. I mean, now you might not be able to because it might just fall apart. But at that point, they could have went at some point and gotten it out of there. They could have rebuilt it. They could have bring it up. But it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of work. And it's going to take a lot of time. But you know what the ship is supposed to look like. You know what work you need to do to get the ship done. Are you going to have the time and the funds to do it? And that has always been sort of the concern, but he understands this football club. And I like when he speaks because just like, bigging up the players after the match, they deserve that. But just the last statement of just saying you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't fight in this league, you have no chance. And I think you can literally apply that to Manchester United. Like, you can have all the talent in the world. And I've been saying this for like over a year now. You can have all the talent in the world. If you don't fight in this shirt week in, week out, if you don't have the correct attitude, if you don't have the correct mentality, you have no chance at this football club. You have no chance to succeed in this football club. You have to fight. You have to have the correct mentality. You have to have the correct attitude. You have to be the correct person for this football club. And if you don't do it week in, week out, you will get swallowed up by this football club. You will get defeated by the pressure. You will get eaten up. And we've seen it too many times before. And I think Ruben, has the mentality. I think he has the understanding. I think he has the ability. I think the players that we're getting in, Mateus De Ligt, Mazawari, I think I'm looking for Lisandro Martinez to come back in. The players seem to be stepping up. Bruno is doing it. Casemiro has it. Diallo has it. Cunha has it. And Mbeumo has it. I think Sesko probably has it, but I think we need to bring out a little bit more in him, and he's still a little bit young. Euro seems like he's getting it. Lemon seems like he has it, and it's already naturally part of him. I think Delo has it, but he's just struggling performance-wise. I think Dorgu is one that we need to help a little bit and grow him a little bit. Maguire has it as well. I didn't mention Maguire. Need to mention Maguire. Of course, he deserves his praise for it. They are fighting. They are fighting, and I think they all have good mentality for it as well. So, Amorim says our best match this season was against Arsenal. He's still holding on to that Arsenal match, man. I think he's very upset that he didn't get the win. I think he feels very hard done by. Because he's still talking about the Arsenal match. And some will say, bro, just let it go. But I think he's trying to hold it as sort of a placement. And he was like, I think the reason why he keeps mentioning it is because he's like, that's how he wants the team to perform week in, week out. And that's the level that he's using as sort of a measuring stick. Even though we lost that match, we lost it because of a shit error, from the goalkeeper. But the level that we played in that match, in the opening, it was very good. I think he's trying to use that as sort of a measuring stick in terms of that, he said they are more confident. When you have more confidence, luck is sometimes on your side. I would say it's definitely on your side in certain moments. It's more likely to be on your side for sure. He said that's what I feel now. I feel that we have a bit more luck. And again, I didn't read these. I didn't see this. Me and him are like on the same page because he's saying exactly what I said. I said that right after the match. And it feels that way. It feels that way. It kind of looks that way. He said because we are in a different state of mind, and I think so. I mean, if you're more confident, you're probably more positive. And if you're more confident and more positive, then more good things tend to happen. I don't know why. Call it luck, call it whatever it is. It seems like the universe seems to work like that. I don't know. I don't know. And he also said on Cunha, the more difficult the match is, the more confident he is, which is, I love that. He said, I really liked his way of defending today. When he has the ball, I have no concerns. Which is good. I don't think he could have said the same for Garnacho last season. I think Ruben was losing his hair last season when Garnacho had the ball. So there's other couple pieces of things that I need to hit real quick before we close out the show. It's been a really good show. Please make sure you hit the like button. If you didn't hit the like button, it is important to the channel. So if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. If you enjoyed the new background, hit the like button. Where are the things that I need to talk about? So there's a lot on the timeline, so give me a second here. Manchester United has conceded only 3 goals this season with Casemiro on the pitch, so defensive duties is working quite well. I think us playing less football is helping out his legs. But again, I think Cass is sort of maybe it's different because he's experienced. Maybe it's different because he's Casemiro. But I still think that Casemiro is still sort of an example in that if you work with Ruben, if you don't act like a prat, if you don't act like a jackass, like a Sancho, if you don't, be all depressed and drop your levels, I think there's a way back for you always. You might not have your spot right now, but I do still believe somebody like a Mainu or something, you might not be, you might not be the guy right now. Yeah, you might not be the main guy right now, but I mean, if you look at Cass, I mean, he wasn't the main guy last season up until a certain point. He literally wasn't playing. He literally wasn't being picked. There was basically a huge indication that he was probably going to be forced out the door. Until he wasn't. And he came back. And now he's starting all the time. And he's still here. And I think that that's an example for players like maybe a Xerxes or like a Mainu. You might not be number 1 right now, but if you just keep it respectful and you do your job and you keep up the levels and you keep putting in the hard work, again, I think Ruben is more than happy to give you opportunities when he can or if they do arise. And he, if you do take that chance or that opportunity and you do impress, I think he is a guy that will change his mind on it as well. But you gotta make it happen first. United has led by 2 goals or more at halftime in 3 consecutive Premier League matches at Old Trafford for the first time since November 2008. That's another one of those stats that we haven't done in quite a bit. So again, there are certain areas, there are certain upticks going on here that we are ticking some boxes that we haven't actually done certain things in quite a bit. So I would say that these things are all minor indications of that there are things that are improving in certain areas. And this is what Ruben has been saying. This is what Jason Wilcox and Ineos have been talking about when we were in that very bad period or that period that we were struggling in. And they kept saying, listen, we're looking at the data, we're looking at all this stuff. Things have improved. There are signs showing that there is improvement. And so we're going to stick with what we're doing. And it seems like to be paying off now, especially in the last sort of 3 weeks. So, Apparently, somebody has said that Ruben Amorim is a big fan of Tyrell Malacia's attitude. So again, like he was in the match day squad. He was on the bench. He didn't play, but he's there. And maybe we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence back from him, because technically we do need somebody on the left so that Delo can go back to his right and play on the right and compete on the right and have competition on the right with him and Diallo. They also are two different sort of characteristics in terms of Diallo is actually a winger and he's probably the more advanced wing back, and Delo is more of the defensive one. And then on the left, you have Dorgu, and maybe, I mean, if he can come back, maybe have Dorgu and Malacia for the time being. Also, I think maybe, they kind of need to play him to get some minutes. It's probably been recommended because I don't know if his contract is up at the end of this season. But if it's not, they would probably like to get some money for him. The only way that's really going to happen is if he starts playing some matches here and there. So, interesting. But again, that's just something that I was just talking about. Like, Malacia, we tried to sell him. It didn't work out. He was deemed not good enough. He probably still isn't really good enough, and we probably still need more. But I mean, Malacia probably has a good attitude, and he's probably a good guy to have around. And he's been probably through a lot, and he probably still carrying himself in a good way. And again, Ruben is a huge admirer of that. And if you do those things, and you keep a good attitude, and you show up to work and training, and you have a positive attitude and you put in hard work, I think he's always willing to give you another chance. I think he's always willing to try and work with you. It's just those people that have shitty attitudes and shitty mentalities and sort of give up on themselves and give up on their teammates and give up on the manager, or want to be resentful. I think he has no time for that. I think he has a zero tolerance for that shit. And I love that because I'm the same way. I don't like players with shitty attitudes and shitty mentalities. I don't think we have time to be messing around with that. That's why at the end, I'm happy that Garnacho was gone. I didn't like the way he handled his situation, even if it's wrong, even if he was felt hard done by. Again, I still always believe there is a way as a player for you to handle a situation, and you handle it in-house, and you don't handle it publicly, and you don't be a prat about it on social media or whatever it is. There's a way to handle it. And I don't think Garnacho handled it well. I don't think Rashford handled it well. But Rashford was a bit different. But walking on the pitch, I don't think you handled it well. I think that you given up. I think it was quite clear that he was very, very down because immediately he was out of the team. And I think that's because he wasn't taking training serious, or he was going through the motions or whatever it was. So Amorim on whether where we at? Amorim on whether victories prove his worth to Jim Ratcliffe. And Amorim said, it's more for the fans because I always felt that Jim believed in us and understood what we were doing. And maybe he is a bit vindicated from, Sir Jim Ratcliffe had that interview a couple weeks ago, and he said, he's been backing Ruben. He says he believes in Ruben. He said he wants Ruben to have at least 3 years, and he wants to show what he can be as a manager in 3 years. And the fans were the ones publicly more doubting and giving more backlash to Ruben and stuff. So I think that's a fair statement. I mean, it is a bit more for the fans. I've always said, you got to give us something to buy into. You got to give us something to hold on to. And I think in that way, we can understand that we're not going to be perfect. We're going to have things to work on. But at the same time, there is some sort of area that is positive, that looks good, that we can sort of latch on to and get behind. And I think that's what Ruben is saying. And yeah, it just makes sense. 5 of United's last 7 goals during their 3-match winning run has been scored by Cunha, Mbeumo, and Sesko, which is good because that's the attack. So the attack is look. The last 3 weeks, it seemed to have clicked a lot more, which is getting us more wins, which I've always said, we need to score more goals. We'll be okay. We will be okay if we can continue to score goals in the way that we're doing. If we can score goals first in the match, if we could keep up the levels, if we can find out how to score 2, 3, 4 goals a game, we will be completely fine. We will be completely fine this season. We will have a good season. Manchester United have won 4 of their last 6 Premier League games. Only Arsenal have won more in that period, which has been 5. So, again, another sort of upward sort of statistic, determining that we are in an upward trend, and that we are, performing quite positively. We did that. Elliot Anderson won. Manchester United is the second Premier League team that creates the most chances this season with 101. I don't know who the first is, but I've always talked about that as well. This is not the same as where we've been in maybe the past couple of seasons. We have been creating a large amount of chances. We have been creating more chances in this league this season so far than basically every team in the league. Our problem was always converting. The past 3 weeks, we are converting our chances. And it started with a 2-0 against Sunderland. We got another 2 at Liverpool, and that was enough, thankfully. And, against Brighton, it took a little bit more, but we got the 3. We should have been good. We shouldn't have given up the 2 goals. 3 should have been enough. But you know what? We did well in terms of that. We gave up 2, and we went and found a 4th. And that was very encouraging and very positive as well. So this team is different than compared to the other teams in the past as well, because in the past, we were struggling to create loads of opportunities. There were so many times that I remember, Ten Hag, injuries or not, I still think even without the injuries, if you look at those statistics, we were struggling to create a high number of chances. There was many matches where we only created 1 or 2 actual big chances in 45 to 60 minutes of football. That's not where we're at right now. We are creating loads of chances very early into the game, and throughout the match. So that is a good indication, and it's very different. Let me just see if there's anything left here to grab onto. There was a story that Mbeumo was being pushed by Brentford to go to Tottenham because Tottenham's offer was going to be a lot higher in terms of price, which Brentford wanted the money for. But Brian Mbeumo kept denying them because he said that he already gave our word to Manchester United and that he wanted to only go to Manchester United, so he kept rejecting all of the offers. Again, that's what Ineos said. And Ruben said. He said, we will go for players that want to play for this football club and not play for a competition. And Cunha was one, and Mbeumo was the second. And look how they are performing, and look how they have come into this team, and look how they have changed the dynamic very early on. So again, I think they were vindicated to go down that route, and I think their thinking behind that was spot on. So, yeah, I think they got it right so far. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how the story ends. But at this moment in time, they seem to have gotten it spot on. So. I mean, we changed 4 players. We went from Rashford to Cunha, Garnacho to Mbeumo, Rasmus to Sesko, and Onana to Lemons. And I think those things those 4 players have made a massive difference. Massive difference. I mean, Cunha and Mbeumo's build is totally different to Rashford and Garnacho. They're totally different. They have different characteristics. They have a different strength. They have different mentalities. They play the game differently. That's when Ruben talks about the characteristics. That's what he means. Like, they have a different brain of how they're playing football. They have a different idea when they get on the ball. When the ball is in their feet, they have a different idea of what to do with the ball. They have a different idea of playing football. along with their build. They are two strong guys. They're just different. They're different players. Just the characteristics alone, forget everything else. The characteristics of their build as footballers between Cunha and Embuemo and Rashford and Garnacho, they're totally different players. They play totally different ways. Even Rasmus and Sesko, even though I feel like could have been a bit of similarities, but they play differently as well. And Onana and Lemons is like night and day. So, but that's all for today. We're going to end it there because we are going to be cutting down these shows and making them less longer. We're about an hour and a half in. It was a very, very good show. We've debuted the background as well. If anybody is still around, I would like to gauge your opinion real quick before I do cut out of here. Real quick, anybody can help me out. What do you guys think? Should I leave it like this? Or should I do this? And if I can do this, I will do this. But, or should I do this? Should I have it blurred a little bit? Please let me know. Oh, should I have it blurred a little bit? Or do you like it? Do you like it that, you could see it? That you could see the background? What do you guys think? Let me know. Cause, it's about you guys, really. I for me, it doesn't matter, but, I tend to, I kind of like both, but I don't really know. But blurred, not blurred. I kind of like the not blurred one, because I think, what's the point of having the things behind me if you can't really see them? But you can kind of see them. They're still back there. It's not blurred a lot, but, and I'm trying to think what we could do streaming-wise. You know what? If we're cutting down the shows, maybe we could kind of do one every day going forward. Thank you to everybody that smashed the like button. We got 10 likes. So I appreciate that very much. Tomorrow, I probably will do another stream. I'm feeling like doing another stream. I will tell you at the time right now. It will be at the time that we went live today. So it will be around 8:45 p.m. British Standard Time. We will do another live tomorrow. I think maybe Wednesday we might skip it. And then we'll do Thursday, Friday, leading up to the match, obviously. And then we're going to have the match and we'll do the Red Devil recap. So, yeah, I think tomorrow, if you're in the Discord, and we have the link for the Discord, Lyle put it in here, and I will pin it to the top. So make sure, if you're not in the Discord, to get in the Discord, because I will keep you up to date on when we are going live and what's happening with that. So, yeah, do that. And tomorrow, same time as today, 8:45 British Standard Time. It's that's 3:45 p.m. here in America. So make sure you're around, stick around. Thank you, everybody. Smash the like button if you did it on your way out. Get in the comments if you're watching the show afterwards, underneath the show. And yeah, just everybody have a good day, and we'll speak and see each other tomorrow then. Have a good one. Peace out.